Good evening, everyone. This is Breezy Bree doing a commentary today on George Floyd. Today was day 6 of the trial, the Chauvin trial, and I almost did not do this. I almost came on here tonight to say, okay, I'm going to cut it off with reporting or with actually giving my commentary on the trial as I have witnessed it on television. I watch CNN, MSNBC, NBC. I go back and forth between the three when I'm watching the case. But I want to read something to you because I didn't want to be completely blindsided about the person that I am adamant about talking about here. And it's just a little bit of information. I'm going to put my glasses on and read it to you. And it hasn't changed my thought process or my opinion to any degree. But listen to this. Some of you may already know this. If not, you can just Google George Floyd Wikipedia. And it says he was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Floyd grew up in Houston, Texas, playing football and basketball throughout high school and college. He was a hip-hop artist and served as a mentor in his religious community. So that must have all been recently, because it goes on to say that between 1997 and 2005, he was convicted of 8 crimes. He served 4 years in prison after accepting a plea bargain for a 2007 aggravated robbery in a home invasion. In 2014, he moved to Minneapolis area, residing in the nearby suburb of St. Louis Park, and worked as a truck driver and bouncer. In 2020, he lost his job as a truck driver and then his security job during the COVID-19 pandemic. So that must have brought about some really hard times for him. The city of Minneapolis settled a wrongful death lawsuit with Floyd's family, and then it goes on to talk about that and goes on to talk about the trial as we see it. But it goes on to say the police officer who knelt on Floyd's neck began trial on March 8th, and we all see that here now. Says here that well, that's all I'm going to read for you because the rest of it is just, we know what it's about. I wanted to say that I used to listen to another YouTuber on here who reported this murder early on. She was a Caucasian, white YouTuber, and she had a lot of really great information about the COVID-19 pandemic that the world is experiencing. And whenever I did my own research behind hers, I found her to be very credible. But she did report that at one point, Chauvin and Floyd worked together at this same place, wherever it is that Floyd was a bouncer. They worked together, and that right before Floyd's death, Chauvin had resigned or quit, and also so did Floyd. Or no, actually, it looks like Floyd lost his job or something, but Chauvin had resigned or quit, and they had been there a number of years. So could these two people have known each other? I just found that awfully odd. I didn't know the history. I didn't know if anyone else knew the history. So I just wanted to read this to you. Like I said, it has not changed my mind. I do want to say that I was listening to the trial today, and I was just kind of alarmed by the defense again to continue to use the people who were standing by watching this take place. He is trying to say that they got in the way and that they distracted the officer. They did not distract that officer. They tried to distract that officer from putting his foot on the man's neck, and the officer was not distracted. So that is just a really lame argument, even though he's a really good defense attorney. But he's really reaching. Today on the stand, they had, and I'm looking over here at some notes that I have here, they had Chief Medaria Arradondo. He is the chief police in Minneapolis precinct, and he is the chief police who actually terminated Chauvin. And he talked about their mission at their police precinct, and that their mission is to protect with coverage and to serve with compassion. So that's a big deal. A company or an organization's mission is the foundation of what they stand for. And it's something that should resonate throughout every employee of that organization, in the writings, in their handbook, whatever it is that they do. That mission sets the stage for all of it. And it just appears that it didn't resonate with Chauvin. That's why we're here. Um, he went on to talk about the training and the fact that the police officers have extensive training in community relations in the police academy. And that particular training is ongoing because people do forget, they want to enhance it, and sometimes things are updated with the training. So they have that training often. He also talked about the de-escalation escalation process, and also there is an escalation de-escalation process that we'll go into, which is quite different. But the de-escalation escalation process is the attempt to slow down the situation. Whatever the situation that the officer is in, he is to attempt to slow it down. These officers, as if you will go back to my very first video, when I said that they immediately drew the gun, that is not a de-escalation escalation. That is an escalation de-escalation. It means they pose some kind of threat saying, if you don't do this, we're going to pull out the gun, or we're gonna taser you, or we're gonna do something. They forewarn you whenever they are giving you an escalation de-escalation. And in this case, they just simply opened up the door and drew the gun. And the police chief also substantiated what I said in my video the other day, in that this situation that they were called out to did not warrant them to do what they did. He talked a lot about the responsibility of the other officers who were standing by. This testimony today was pivotal because the prosecution laid it out. He laid this case out. He gave the details from the beginning to the end. If you're listening to me and you're not watching this, you can watch it on your phone. If you Google, go to YouTube and you put in George Floyd live trial, or, Chauvin trial, all of the stations that are carrying it, from the Washington Post to NBC, they will show up, so that if you want an opportunity to hear what's going on, because pay close attention to the attorneys. The attorneys are excellent. Even the defense attorney, even though he is reaching, he is an excellent attorney. I just wanted to cover those few items here. And I also wanted to share with you another thing that he said today, because they talked about paragraph B in the de-escalation escalation process, and the fact that the officers are supposed to have a keen awareness of the person that they are approaching to prepare to arrest. And they are supposed to know whether or not that person has, they're supposed to at least take into consideration the fact that the person could have, one of them is a medical condition. Let me read this. Medical conditions, mental impairment, developmental disability, physical limitations, a language barrier, influence of drug or alcohol use. That's what people are saying was going on with Floyd. So that officer definitely should not have, done what he did in that case. Or a behavioral crisis. You can have that because people, he used some examples, people have a behavioral crisis whenever they lose their job, whenever they're, there could be anything going on. But anyway, those are just some things that I wanted to go over with about the trial that I got out of it today. In the end, the bottom line is it did not rise to the level of a violent crime required for what Chauvin did. Okay, and that's according to the police chief and all the other officers that were on the stand today. There was a female officer, oh my goodness, I forgot what kind she was, but she was a a ranking officer, white lady, and she also agreed that Chauvin went outside the bounds of what he is even trained on. And even when she was looking, I think they showed a picture of his foot on Floyd's neck, and that is not really, that's not even included in their training. The defense seemed to be trying to get people to, trying to get the witnesses to corroborate that the officer can do things that are not included in the training. There were some objections, and I was kind of in and out, but I did watch the full trial while the police chief was on, and he was like amazing. He knows that police precinct inside and out. He knows that total process. He has worked in almost every position, starting on the bottom level, and like every 2 or 3 years being promoted to the point where he gets to this place and the mayor, you know, brings him in as the police chief. So just wanted to share that with you. Another thing I want to share with you, because I want to put some things out there and just see if other people are experiencing them as well, because I have another video that I'm going to do. I'm going to premiere it and put a time on it, and hopefully people will show up for it. But it has to do with racial discrimination in the workplace. I have been a victim of a lot of that here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So I just want to, put that out there and see if you all would be interested in having that discussion as well, because we really do need to, we need to perfect this issue that is happening to many of us in the community. And but anyway, thank you. Comment, let me know what you thought about the George Floyd trial. I mean, the Chauvin trial, the George Floyd case. And also, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I have to get like 4,000, I think it is 4,000. Yeah, 4,000 hours, I think, something like that. At any rate, thumbs up, notification bell, and subscribe, and also comment. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.